Hey everyone, Darren Cornwall here. Welcome back to my studio. Welcome to part 17 of this Kylo Ren tutorial. This is the last part. We are pretty much finished now. We've just got to gloss his eyes and then we're done. So I hope you're all doing well. In between the last video, I think, I might have done it the video before, I can't remember. At some point recently, I took this head that was finished painting, I took it into my back garden because I don't have my spray booth set up here yet, which will be happening soon. I sprayed it with a coat of gloss varnish. I let that dry properly for a few days. I sprayed it with a couple of coats of Testa's dull coat to remove all of the shine, and he's looking really good now. You can't see it on that camera because that doesn't autofocus. I've set the focus here. There you go. So it's looking really good now, but obviously his eyes were also matte. They had had the shine removed, so we're going to go in with a small brush and hand paint the varnish on those, and then we are done. It's been an interesting series because it was the first time I was using these paints. Honestly, at the beginning, I didn't know how it was going to go. I was looking at my first early, first few videos, the first few hours of painting, and I'm thinking, oh, this is not going how I want it to go. This isn't going as easily as when I did it with these ones that I knew that I'd used for 13 years. I thought, I think I'm going to get the results that I want. But honestly, like in the first few hours, I'm like, oh, this doesn't look like it's going to the way I want it to. Thankfully it did. The head looks amazing. So it just shows that I can use these paints. The colours may be different, the processes may be different. Instead of using a single flesh colour, I now mix them with, actually wrote it down. So in the early times, I wouldn't forget what my mixes were until I got used to them. So I use a few colours for each stage now, and that works okay. There may be perfect matches out there, but you know what? I've got them here, this works, it doesn't hurt to do a drop of this, drop of that, and that's absolutely fine. So you've been able to see how I figured that out. Now that I've took this off my desk, it's not sticking down anymore. Stay. So if you're watching this on Patreon, you're seeing this first before anybody else. This is going to be a short video. I'm just going to be glossing the eyes, and that's pretty much it. I will do the usual post of all of the photos that I take afterwards in a separate post that will be coming up in a few days probably. If you're watching this on YouTube, because I said for this one series only, while I was using these paints for the first time, I thought that might be interesting. I would put this up on YouTube, let you guys see what we do over on Patreon, and also watch me make a mess of trying to figure out how to get the right colours. So if you're watching this on YouTube, then I will probably edit a load of photos into the end of this video, so that'll be nice and easy for you. So wherever you are, you'll get your photos of the finished head. But in the meantime, I can bring the overhead camera in. We'll gloss the eyes. It's only a short thing. It doesn't take that long, but I want to show you how I do the lens to make the shiny concave front, and also make it completely smooth and give that glossy look. So I'll show you how I do that. We'll do that now, and then we're done. Then we're done with Kylo, and we move on to something else. I'll try and find something exciting and interesting for you guys. I've got a load of things on my desk that I can choose from. I'll pick something. Right, let's try and get into the right place here. I should have done this beforehand. Okay, so first of all, let me check that. Microphone is recording, music is on, counter is going up, it is working, right. Suddenly had a panic attack that nothing was recording. Okay, so let's get this in place. Let's get that out the way. Right, overhead camera with me in the corner. There's me in the corner. Right, this is, let's see, what's straight? So that's straight, okay. So we need it to go more like that. And if I bring that a little bit lower, I'm going to change the focus as I'm working, but if I hold that there, that should be about right. If I'm working on that, I can do that there. I can look up close to see what I'm doing. That works well. If I need to go really close, I can change the focus manually because I've got the webcam settings up and ready to work. That should be good. Okay. So we don't actually need a lot today. We don't need a load of colours. We don't need a load of thinner or water or anything. We need a brush, and I'm going to use one like that. That should be small enough and pointy enough. It's not perfect. It's not one of the expensive brushes. It's got a little bit of a hook on the tip because it's, you know, slightly old, and it's only a cheap brush, but it's good enough for what I'm doing. And I don't want one of the super thin, really pointy ones for doing the lens, even though they're more accurate for getting into corners and things like that. For doing the lens, I actually like a slightly bigger brush. So we're going to have the gloss varnish. Now I bought this just as a match. I haven't got my old stuff, have I? No, I threw that away. I'd ran out and then thrown it away. I basically just bought Vallejo gloss varnish as a straight replacement for the MP paints that I was previously using. I had the gloss varnish of that, and that's what I did all my eyes and anything glossy with. So I just thought, okay, if I'm using Vallejo paints, I'll buy the Vallejo gloss varnish, and I did a few tests and it seems to be fine. So we're going to be okay with that. I'm going to give that a bit of a shake. It's quite liquidy, so it'll mix up nice and quick. Some of these are a lot thicker than the others, but some of them are quite watery. It's weird how some of them are different. You'd think that they'd all be pretty much the same. All of my old ones were the same. They just were different colours. But these paints have different textures. Now I don't know if it's because of different thicknesses, I should say. If it's because I'm buying them from different places and they've had them in stock for different amounts of time, so they're maybe not, you know, I mean, they're new, clearly, but they've been sitting there for a while. I don't know. I don't know if it's the actual colours that are different. I don't know. Okay, so let's take the lid off this. I'm going to drop, so you can see that there? That was me testing the gloss varnish to see how it works when it just blobs down. So I'm going to drop just a couple of drops. I don't need a huge amount here, so I'm just going to put, see that there? That much down. That's all I need. Now, what I would normally do, and I would normally do this, obviously if I'm not filming, in my own time, I would take the head, paint a layer of gloss over the eyes, just with a normal brush like that, or any of the other ones, paint a thin gloss straight on the eyeball, covering the entire eyeball, so from that corner to that corner. So this is really difficult to do in a mirror. So that part of the eye, the whole visible eyeball, just paint straight over it, a thin layer, let it dry. And then if it doesn't look exactly shiny, because sometimes all of the paint that you've been putting on stops them from being super shiny, do another coat, let it dry. Normally I would do that in my own time. Because I'm doing a video, it's kind of difficult without recording it and then waiting ages and having to go back and edit the video. So what I did beforehand, let me go back to the overhead. Beforehand, I did a thin layer of gloss on his eyes, and you can see they already look great. To be honest, I could leave them like that, but I want to show you how I'm doing it. So let me I want to raise that focus a little bit for you guys so you can see. Where are we? Let me figure out where I need to be. So where's the focus? Let's lift the focus up. How close can I get? Because I've got to be able to, I want you guys to be able to see it, but I've got to be able to work under the webcam. And once you get too close to the webcam, it gets in the way a bit. Because that's only 3 inches away from the camera there, maybe 3 or 4 inches, and it's great for showing you what's happening, but to actually get a brush in there in a way that I don't have to pull the head off camera to see what I'm doing, that's what I've got to make sure. So you can see his eyes already look brilliant. That already looks like Kylo Ren. He's got the right skin. He's got everything's brilliant. Some of these highlights that I dry brushed on, the browns, on my preview, they look excessively brown. Like, they look really red and really weird. But in person, you can barely see them. It's just black hair, but with occasional glints of highlights. So it works better in person than on camera for that. But the rest of it looks pretty damn good. So there's his eyes. So that's what we're going to do now. So if I go in, I'm just getting the little brush, going into some of that, and that's it. Just pick up some of the gloss. Now, let's try and figure out a way to do this where I can show you what I'm doing. So, where is the focus? About there. Okay. So I don't want too much on the brush because then that's a little bit... So what I'm doing with the... When I normally do it, I paint across the whole eye, and then I go back just on the... over the lens, and I drop down some varnish just in a circle over the coloured part of the iris, and while it's wet, position it using the tip of the brush to let it sit where it needs to go. I'm just going to pick up a bit more. Sorry, did I drop that down there? So I'm going in onto the other one, and I'm dropping this down, get rid of some of the excess. Dropping it on the center, and then using the brush to move it around to cover the lens, but to make sure that it's all in the right position, and not touching any parts that you don't want it to touch. Like just up there, it's going on the top edge of the eyelid, which I didn't want, so just touch that off. Let me lift the focus up even more, let you see it a bit better. So the eyes had a cover of gloss initially painted over the whole thing, so that the white of the eye is shiny, you can see it there. And then I've just gone in now and done that. It's basically a controlled blob of varnish just around the iris. And you try and get the surface as smooth as you can. You try and get it as even as you can. If you touch the eyelids, then the surface tension often goes zoop, and it sort of sucks it all off to one side and makes it weird looking. So you have to try and do it without... You want to go up to the eyelid, because obviously it's got to look like an eye. But you don't want to touch the eyelid, so you got to be careful doing it. But you just do a circular blob of controlled varnish. And then you get that sort of shine. See on the bottom eye there? That's a reflection of the light that's above the camera. And you see on the other eye there as well. And that's pretty much looking right already, but we're going to let that dry. In fact, what we're going to do while we've got that, there's nothing else to do to the eyes. That was pretty much it. Like I said, there was a couple of coats of just painting on flat varnish first, letting them dry. Now we've just done that part. What I'm going to do, and not much, because this character doesn't have much. With some characters, some actors, when I'm glossing the eyes, I also put some gloss on the lips, because some people have wet looking lips. Now, Adam Driver, Kylo Ren, doesn't really, but I want to put a little bit of stuff on. So I've just got some of the varnish, and I'm just wiping off the excess on my finger, because I just want to put on, where's the focus? The slightest amount inside his lips. Not even... It's just like inside his lips, maybe down the middle a little bit, but it's not his whole lips, his whole lips. And also, it's a small amount. I'm not even really painting varnish here. This is almost dry brushing. Let me get a little bit more. I do need a bit more than that. You just want the inside, especially because he's got a sculpted open mouth. It helps, and having just a little bit of shine on the inside there will help sell that. Now, some actors, some characters, they do have very wet looking lips, and you do a bit of a layer. Let me just get that excess off and smooth that over. Just take off the edges because I don't want it to come up to the edge. I think that's about right. Like I said, hardly anything. Just a little bit to make it look like, you know, what the inside of your mouth is like. A little bit wet, and that's it. That's kind of it. That's all we needed to do this week. Or on this video, I should say. So that is, I mean, that is looking quite harsh because it's got a studio light. It's got the fluorescent daylight bulbs immediately above it. So you're not getting any of the normal shadows that you would. And it's quite a bright light. But you can see it looks like Adam Driver. It looks like Kylo Ren. And that is what we've been doing with the Vallejo paints. Now, this was the first time I'd used these, so it was interesting, and there were times, like I said, that I was thinking this is not gonna work. These colours that I'm painting on are not the colours that I want them to be, because at the start of this, and even during this one series, I've already learnt a lot about how I'm going to use these. I was focused so hard on trying to match the MP paints that I used to use. So I was trying to get Vallejo paints or mixes of Vallejo paints that matched that colour, whatever that colour was, in this case tan flesh. I was trying to mix that. And when I couldn't, I was freaking out. I'm like, it's not going right. I can't get the right colour. Why can't I get it the same? And what I realised was I didn't need to be doing that. And I thought it would take longer to actually get used to that, but it's done now by the end of this one series. Instead of trying to match these old paints exactly, and it was useful to maybe try and match them a little bit at the start, I am now just working with these other colours and figuring out, okay, forget that and how you did it with that. How would I do it with these? That's a slightly different colour. Okay, so I've done a different colour base layer of skin that's slightly different with different levels of red and brown, and the washes that I'm putting on top are a slightly different colour of brown than what I would normally use. So what would I do to make that get to the result that I want? And we're just working it separately. It's different. We're doing the same thing. We're getting the same results because this looks pretty much exactly how it would look if I used the MP paints, if I did this with the old paints I've used for 13 years. But we got exactly the same result, but just using different colours and going a slightly different route. That's brilliant. I'm happy with that. I'm very happy with that indeed. Let's get his eyes shiny. There you go. Love it. Can't wait to get pictures of that on a figure, because that's going to look amazing. That makes me jealous that I don't have one, because that's brilliant. I love that. Okay, let's put him over there. I'll put his high-tech dust cover on so he gets no dust while he's drying. Just plonk that on top of his head, and let's get the main camera back and put you over there. Right, hello again. Whoa, everything's gone bright. The light's probably changed. Let's turn that light away from me a bit. There you go, that's better. Right, that's Kylo Ren. We're done. Like I said, if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll get pictures after this video once I've said goodbye. If you're watching this on Patreon, you will get photos in the next post. I will do a separate picture post for you. I'm just washing the varnish off the brush so I don't forget. I haven't got any kitchen roll. Oh, there's some. That's it. I'm being rubbish. This is such an unprofessional end to this series. I'm trying to do a load of things at the same time, and my brain is sort of half on other things that's going on. With my mum's hurt her back, and we're trying to. It's a load of stuff to deal with, and it's fine, and it's getting done, and I'm dealing with it. But it just means that I'm distracted quite a lot of the time. So at the moment, I'm half thinking about that, and I'm half thinking, what am I trying to say? And I'm half washing my brushes. Okay, let me just focus on you guys. Hi, how are you doing? I'm okay. That was Kylo Ren. That was 17 videos. I don't know how many hours that was, but 16, 15 hours maybe. Not sure. Thanks for watching them all. Thanks for sticking with me. Thanks for being here, whether you are on YouTube or Patreon. Especially to my patrons, because you guys, you really allow me to do this for a living. If I'm honest, you guys keep me going, and if there are times when I'm maybe struggling with work or something, you guys keep me going. So I cannot thank you enough for that. If you are on my YouTube or Instagram or Facebook, thank you again, because just a lot of my commissions obviously comes from people who follow me, so thank you for that. But also, just knowing that people are looking at what I do psychologically helps. We all like people to see what we do, and we all like to have things liked, I suppose. And when you're doing work like this, I obviously get emails from the clients themselves, and they're always, oh my god, I can't believe how good this is. This is the centerpiece of my collection now. It's amazing. I get all of those emails, and I love that. Sometimes they make me cry. It's really wonderful. But just having people out there who are looking at my things and going, that's really good, Darren, well done. And I'm like, thank you. And it just, if you're ever having like a slightly down day, it just lifts you up a little bit and makes you carry on. So thank you to everybody who follows me in any way, who supports me in any way. So that's Kylo Ren done. We are on Patreon. We are going to go straight into, after the photo post, we're going to go straight into another series. I am not sure which one I'm going to do yet. I'm going to choose. I've got a few things on the go that I've already started painting and recording. So I will choose which one I think will be interesting, and we will go with that. If you're on YouTube, I will try and get the time. It's really difficult. It's one of those things where I really could do with a clone to do stuff for me. I will try and edit some more of those 10-minute videos that show the entire process like you've just seen, but edit it down into 10 minutes so you can just sort of little bite-sized video to see what I do, but on more heads where you're not going to see the whole process. I will try and get more of them done. I've got a few things that I can do. I've got some old recordings where I want to put a voiceover onto them because I didn't record them with sound. I was just filming the painting. So I'm going to do that. That's going to be a new thing for me. I've never done that before, using the microphone to record a separate voiceover after I've painted it. It's going to be slightly weird because normally I'm describing stuff as I'm doing it, or even before I'm doing it, because I know what I'm about to do. Watching the video, it'll be weird because I'll be watching an hour-long video, waiting for me to do stuff, and then explaining what I'm trying to do, and that's going to be hard. Especially during gaps where I normally ramble about different stuff when I know there's nothing to talk about. I'll be watching the videos going, am I going to do anything? Is anything interesting coming? And it'll be odd, but it will get you another series that you can watch. That's it. I've said my goodbyes, I've said my thank yous. Look after yourselves, everybody. Have a good weekend, have a good week whenever you're watching this. Be nice to other people around you. Be nice to animals. Let's just be nice in general. And I'll see you soon. And thank you again for everything. Look after yourselves. Bye.